Hi, this is Lisa. I'm doing a redo of my Piaget's conservation tasks. Jean Piaget conservation tasks used a structure observational research design. In these tasks, children were presented with two identical objects and asked if they were the same. Then one object was transformed and it was presented to the child again to see if they were still holding the same amount. The design within the subjects, the same child was observed before and after the transformation to determine whether they did recognize the quantity, even though it changed in appearance. Why did the experiment fit the research design? Basically, the setup was consistent. It was easy to replicate. The variables were controlled and the child's behavior was observed and recorded very carefully and staged to change. This aligns with developmental and cognitive research because it assesses how children's thinking changes over time. The research questions: at what age did children develop the ability to understand conservation? That would be something to think about. And then the hypothesis: children under the age of 7 will typically fail conservation tasks, while older children will succeed. Then we move on to ethical considerations. Basically, no, Piaget didn't violate any ethical codes of context in these experiments. He had informed consent. It was formal consent procedures. Today, such studies would involve parent consent and child assent. Minimal risk. There was hardly any risk for the children. They were just being asked simple questions to observe objects and so on and so forth. The right to withdrawal. Well, it doesn't really clearly document this. It seems like he wouldn't have pushed them to do further if they didn't want to. And he didn't identify the children's names or their where they live or anything. So basically, he followed ethical considerations. Even by today's standards, I believe that this would still be pretty ethical in an experiment with hypotheses.